inside, and he realised, oh no, this isn't on, and he cut the corner, but he still had nowhere to go. The Porsche turned in, there was contact, the Porsche kept his line. It was, I think, Keating in the car, wasn't it?
Yes, Ben Keating. Okay, number 9 in the pits. This is Jose Maria Lopez, the Argentine, in the 3rd Toyota, which is 5th overall. Had some damage at the beginning of the race, literally the 4th corner of the race, when a bollard was kicked up by the Colles car, flew into the right-hand light pod cluster, smashed it to bits, and it necessitated the car to come in and then do a nose change. Lopez goes on his way.
Nice and easy.
And off he goes. Nice and easy, as you say. Let's catch up with what Nico Prost has got to say. He's leading LMP2-1.
Nico, we will need to adjust engine blanking. We will adjust engine blanking, so the stop will be slightly longer. Watch for the lollipop. Watch for the lollipop.
So that was Nico being told that they're going to adjust the engine blanking. I suspect his engine is getting a little bit too hot, and obviously in these heats, so they need to try and cool it a bit better, so his stop will be a little bit longer. But they need to do that in order to keep the car running without any troubles, prevent it from getting too hot. They've obviously got data on the car. They're able to look at the data on the car from the pits.
We've got a slow zone in the first sector, so that's from the start-finish line through the Dunlop chicane, underneath the Dunlop bridge.
As a consequence of Ben Keating going in and taking out those marker boards and all sorts down that line, so they'll just be replacing them. That shouldn't be too long.
Okay, so whilst there's a yellow flag there, what we're going to do, we're going to hand over to Julian Porter and also Giles Dawson, and I've got Lena Gade coming up to join you as well. Lena Gade, of the Audi Sports engineer, who has won Le Mans as an engineer, and she's here to look around, so I'll go and get her for you. So it's going to be Julian and Giles to take you through the next 3 hours here at Le Mans. Slow sector in the first sector as they clear up the grass and the muck and everything and the polystyrene that's been thrown all over the place. We've had some great racing. We've had a couple of moments, but that's Le Mans.
Thank you, Toby. Thank you, Peter. Alan has already vacated the box. I believe he's coming back in an hour or so. But it's the Julian and Giles show for the next 3 hours or so. So we are here, as Peter and Toby were saying. Well, I've got a yellow flag in Sector 1. And Giles, I've been keeping abreast of it best I can. When you're not actually watching it all the time, it's not so easy, but a dramatic start anyway, with the Colles and the number 9 Toyota having given a misdemeanor, and then the biggest moment. Oh, here we go. We've got the 7 car dispatching of 2 GTE Pro cars. Oh, sorry, I saw the number 9 Toyota go down the outside.
Yeah, we've seen some action. Number 8 Toyota in the slow zone. Yeah, no, we've seen quite some action in this first 3 hours. I think the biggest story is the Ruzanov contact with Al-Khasibi in the Porsche GT AM car. So Roman Ruzanov, pole sitter in the LMP2 class, out of the race.
Yeah, that was a big thing, and also that did take out the 88
Al-Khasibi 88 car, which was also definitely in the running for the AM class. So sad to see that.
What do you make of that?
I'd need to see another angle before I could say yes or no to what went on. We didn't see the entrance. We didn't see what went on the entry to the quick left in the Porsche curves. So yeah, the jury's definitely out there. I don't think any blame can be placed.
It was a bizarre one, I thought, when I saw it. But
the fact that they kept pushing was the thing that I found odd. The fact that Ruzanov kept the foot in rather than pushing the Porsche along the wall. So we'll see. I mean, there's an interview with Al-Khasibi on the app, so go over to the app and have a listen to what his view of that is. But yeah, certainly Roman Ruzanov, this place, really does owe him. He's done an awful lot here. He has stood on the top step of the podium, but then had that win taken away. So I think Roman will be doing some soul searching tonight.
That's it. The 7 car out front. Kobayashi on board, just going around the outside of the Porsche in the Porsche curves, and it was cut and run from the Toyota at the start as it disappeared off and out and away. But the Nick Tandy car is in second place. It's 33.7 seconds away, leading in LMP2 just as we catch up. Still with that slow zone, remember, the 7 car into the pit road as well. But just to catch up, the 31 Prost car leads LMP2. And I've just looked up at our spotters guide, and I see that the pen has been in use, obviously. Yeah, 3 of them out so far. So that's that. So the 7 car in from the lead, Kobayashi. That is going to just
He'll be staying in for this one, and he'll have one more to go.
Now, we do have a bit of a chart. I don't know how good those boys in front of us have been with this chart, but let's see.
Kamui just sitting patiently waiting for the windscreen to be cleaned and the fuel to go in. Should take around 40 seconds for that to happen.
This must be pit stop 4 for it. Just looking at the laps.
Away he goes on the electric power. That car fires up initially on electric power and then it pump starts the engine as it runs down the pit lane. A very strange thing, very surreal thing to stand next to.
So the first thing that we got to bring up, if you're only just joining us, like let's say you've only just joined to listen to Julian and Giles, there was no driver change there, which is what we were thinking at some points Toyota might have to do. Temperature obviously not got to that level of the rule.
No, absolutely, and that rule being clarified. So we were in a situation where the written regulation coming into the weekend was that if we were perceived to have an ambient temperature of 32 degrees C or above at any point during the race, that the driver stint lengths would be restricted to 80 minutes, full stop. That has been reviewed, lifted, and the ACO have very sensibly now put in a situation that involves humidity and also wind chill factors to look at really ultimately what matters, cockpit temperatures. And I suspect, looking at the weather forecast moving forwards, the only time that we might hit it is the last hour of the race tomorrow. As temperatures set to rise higher and higher and higher as we go through this race, saying that the low tomorrow will be 4 a.m. while we're on for our second stint, 17 degrees C. That's as low as the ambient temperature is going to get, but not hitting the 32, magic 32 until 2 p.m. tomorrow afternoon.
Okay, so there's some cars lapping, whizzing through the Porsche curves there out onto the exit. And Kobayashi and Tandy on an out lap now. Davison running in third. I was going down the running order. The GTM Pro car is the 95 Aston Martin. Sorensen on board that car at the minute. And in the AM category, it's another Aston Martin. And that is Paul Della Lana aboard the 98 Aston there. So we've got... Oh, we did have a situation there where someone was going to overtake, and then there's lots of wave. That's obviously them coming into the slow zone, but they must have known about that, but they were all ready to pounce there.
Everybody's in the same situation, and as soon as they come out of the slow zone, they're free to race. Yeah, we see the Manor car there going off. Earlier on, we saw one of the Toyotas, I think it was the number 9 Toyota, going across one of those inner driveways, is what they actually are, the entrances to people's houses, and going all 4 wheels in the air as he ran off down there. So I think we were always going to see this year with the LMP2 speed differential to P1 being so low and so much quicker than the GTEs, as the SMP car gets very sideways across the apex to the left, releasing off that slow zone.
Well, what has been the big talking point in P2 has been the Orica, Dallara, and the differences between these cars, and this is a great way of seeing it, of what's good where. Absolutely. Some running a higher downforce, some running a lower downforce. Yeah,
and Simon Trummer on board the Manor Orica, driving away through the areas that require mechanical grip. Now watch this Dallara open its legs up and really pull onto the back. The Dallara up to 8 to 10 kilometers faster down the Mulsanne and on the run down to Indianapolis. So we should see him pulling that Orica in now.
So the gap's
really
there. That's the gap between them. So it's gone out in that section through in the wiggly bendy bits.
Yeah. I'm surprised to not see them pulling them in a bit faster. Maybe this is where SMP have got the Dallara working. Maybe they've found a way to get enough downforce on that car to still deliver the lap time, but reduce that top speed. I'll have a look at the speed traps in a moment.
This is a battle for 6th and 7th in P2.
We get the speed traps once a lap, I think, on the run down to Indianapolis. So we'll update it in a minute. I mean, Simon Trummer in the Orica are actually 1 kilometre an hour faster. So I think maybe SMP have wound a load of downforce into that car, and probably a bit of drag too. But the fuel mileage seems to be there in the LMP2 class. Saw early in the race they started splitting it to try and get away from queues of cars in the pit lane, which I think is a very wise move by many of the LMP2 teams.
Yeah, I saw some come in quite early, didn't they? And it was that kind of, oh, what's going on? That's a bit early for a stop. Well, it wasn't, because they were trying to, in theory, what they would call in American racing, off strategy.
Yeah, but I mean, we have seen, we talked about attrition earlier this morning and in the LMP2 class, and I think we have seen a degree of that. You know, the ARC Bratislava car came in on the first lap, before it crossed the line to start the race, because it had an alternator alarm. They've been struggling on the Ligiers with alternator problems all week. Brackets failing, bolts failing, and then this alarm came on, in they came. They've actually had to change the alternator since that, but in doing that found a broken wire, which they think might be what they've been chasing all week. So we'll see how that runs. The ARC Bratislava car is running last of our runners, having completed 31 laps. So let's see how they go as the evening goes on. We'll watch the GTE battle, the closest battle on the circuit.
An engineer or a mechanic will always tell you to a driver, I preferred if you brought me back a car missing a wheel than with an electrical fault, because they can fix it so much quicker.
Absolutely, yeah.
Got the Ferrari going to try and outbrake.
So Davide Rigon making the move on Tommy Milner, makes the move stick, and away he goes out of the first chicane.
I see, I was listening to Sam Bird on because he started, then they put their lesser experienced driver in for the second section, and then obviously coming back to a more experienced driver for the third section. And the Corvette there getting a slipstream, he's not going to be quite.
Try and tow back past. I mean,
maybe at the end of the straight now, he'll
exactly get the run out of the second chicane, and then be able to get past earlier on the straight. The battles just ebb and flow in the GTE Pro and AM class. I mean, you see as the pit stops are cycling through in the AM class, Paul Dalla Lana is back in the lead with Dries Van Toor in the JMW Ferrari running second. But yeah, you know, he's pulling him in, but ultimately this cat and mouse slows them both down, and it's letting that lead battle get away. They don't want to be doing that. Unless they're being very intelligent about the way they're doing the towing, they don't gain lap time. So they need to be careful not to be falling over one another if they're going to tow like that, using their brains to work together. You know, the Ferrari should stay right there if he's going to do that, which he does. And so they are working together. And
let the Corvette come through, and then it takes a bit of an advantage.
And they're both saving fuel this way and punching a bigger hole in the air, which gives them lap time ultimately. So, you know, it looks like some intelligent driving going on there between Tommy Milner and Davide Rigon. Two cars will always punch a bigger hole in the air, which reduces the drag for both. The run down.
I say those two together will sound lovely, won't they?
Yes, absolutely. Although the new 488 Ferrari doesn't sound as nice as the 458, the big banger as it was. So, but the Corvettes certainly sound like thunder as they come through. You hear it there, that crackle of the exhaust. Some of the onboards in the Corvette are absolutely phenomenal. Through the Porsche curves there. The gap just ebbing and flowing, and we could probably see exactly the same as we saw on the last lap in terms of position change. Number 2 Porsche having a bit of a oversteery moment there on the way out as he comes through to lap Davide Rigon on board number 71. Dives down the inside of Tommy Milner and through the S's.
Earl Bamber on board that number 2 car.
So our classification, 20 hours and 45 minutes to go. Toyota 1 leads, Porsche number 1 sitting second place, and then our Toyota number 8 giving chase. The gap's 34 seconds back, the Porsche at this stage.
It's quite a big gap when you think how close the racing has been in the past, but that was kind of Toyota's attitude of let's just get on with it and get away and see what happens. But it's the 7 car with Kobayashi in, and it's the Nicholas Prost 31 Rebellion car. I couldn't even remember the name there. The Prost Rebellion car that is leading the P2 category. We whiz down. It's the 95 Aston Martin. Sorensen on board that car currently as it's lapping through. And then leader in the AM category, as Giles just said, not so long ago, the 98 Aston Martin. Paul Dalla Lana is in there. Oh, incident involving cars 60 and 27 under investigation.
So that's we in the Ferrari at the moment, and 27, who's in car 27, Victor Scheitar on board the SMP Racing Dallara.
Sun just going in behind a cloud, which is quite pleasant, but it soon pops back out at just 7 car on board. This is our leader, Kobayashi. Quite a few more track limits thing. It was quite calm on the track limits for the first few laps of the race, but now those bits of can't remember what you called them.
The floppies.
The floppies.
Yeah.
The missing, but we might get a word with Ben Keating soon. Louise has got him lined up, or getting him lined up in the pit lane. We'll cross over to Louise when she says at the 7 car of Kobayashi. That is some place to watch. He's on a mission, he really is. So, but yeah, more kind of track. Okay, we're going to cross to Louise.
Well, that was some incident out there. That looked hard.
Well, it was miscommunication. In the faster car, the P2, I feel like it's my responsibility to make the clean pass. I was under the impression that he was slowing down early and staying wide to give me room to go to the apex. And once I committed to doing that, he turned down, nothing I could do. So we were door to door, but he didn't know I was there. So I tried to cut the curb and tried to miss him. Got spun around, but luckily I didn't hit anything. I wasn't sure if the vibration was flat spots or a loose nose. So I just got on the radio and recommended we replace both the tires and the nose. And we have, and hopefully Jerome's out there doing well again.
How are you? Did it feel as hard as it looked?
No, I don't think I hit anything. It was just a carousel, just a loop-de-loo. Not painful at all. It was, I was trying to look out the side and decide which way to turn the wheel to keep off the wall.
And enjoy the ride.
Worked out okay.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Interesting that he didn't even feel the impact there, because the car absolutely definitely made side contact with the tyre wall after he'd taken out both of the braking markers on the way up there. So maybe the cushioning of the blow of 2 sets of braking markers between him and the tyre wall saved him from any damage, but he certainly made a bit of a mess of the tyre wall. He got the car back under its own steam though, and back out and running now, so no concerns there.
So this is the Tandy Davison gap, second and third. 4.1 seconds between them. There's the little red lights on the side of the car. That signals in each category, they all have them. But if they're in the top 3 of their category, you have 1 light for first, 2 lights for second, and 3 lights for third. If you are new to World Endurance Racing.
Davidson, having been given the hurry up a couple of laps ago, does seem to now be able to do the lap. So 3:20.5 last time round against Nick Tandy's 3:21.1. So I think Anthony's got the bit between his teeth, can see that Porsche and wants to get that position back on track.
So using all of the road a little bit more out of there, the Porsche was. Davison hot on his heels.
It was interesting hearing that message, the engineer very much trying to urge him to drive around the problems. But hopefully that balance will start coming back towards him, because Kobayashi's clearly got a car under him that's working very well. 3:19.3 last time through, so we'll see what Davidson's response is when he gets out the car. But I think we're due one more stint out of Anthony before that happens.
4.1 seconds between them. I mean, when we look at the qualifying pace, are we surprised that there is, in theory, a Porsche there? I think there's a guest going to join us.
I'm not sure whether we should be surprised that there's a Porsche there at this stage. I think, Toyota haven't gone as quickly yet as we thought they might go. So seeing them doing the times, on lap time, on pace, I think Toyota have still got something to show. Porsche need the track temperature to stay with them. 95 running slowly down the right-hand side of the Mulsanne.
Louise did just come through onto our east, saying there might be a problem. It's a
left
puncture.
Rear puncture.
Yeah, puncture. Just so you know, Louise, left rear puncture. So she did say they were moving around. All of a sudden, the mechanics were. David Richards just been in here.
And then looking for his sunglasses, which he found.
Oh, did he find? Oh, were those on there?
No, they're my ones. You can't have those. They're carbon fibre.
Okay. Quite flashy then.
So on board the 95 at the moment is Sorensen.
Now this car was leading the category.
Yes.
Well, it was when I last looked anyway, which was about 3 or 4 minutes ago.
Daniel Serra now takes up the lead. It was Aston 1-2, so he's bringing the car back as quickly as he dare without doing any damage. Problem on the Aston Martin, they've got a very large rear diffuser hanging out the back, and the last thing they want to do is take that out, because that's a big job to change, and it will mean lap time if they have to. So battle for 6th position in LMP2 rages on. Simon Trummer on board the Mana Orica. Victor Scheitar chasing him down, but as we know, Victor Scheitar under investigation. 36 to respect track limits. Peter's got a book running on that.
Has he?
Which I must fill in.
Oh.
Somebody's moved it. There it is.
Ah, what's that then? Oh, I've got this book. I've got these pieces of paper, which is for pit stops, which I don't think the boys... Alan was really trying hard to keep on top of the pit stops, but... so into the Porsche curve. So just looking at that battle, Davidson's still behind Nick Tandy. We're concentrating here on a P2 fight as that Sorensen drops further and further down. And that's the problem, because it's so close in GTE Pro, the punctures you just plummet down the leaderboard.
Yeah, but they've got to take the risks because the pace is as high. They've got to take the risks of running the curbs. And when they're in traffic, okay, they haven't got so much traffic with GTEM, but equally not getting pushed off line by the P cars as they come past. It can be a problem, they get pushed high going around one of the kinks on the Mulsanne and pick up debris there. So it's the P car's job to drive around the GTEs, but it doesn't always happen like that. So we've got the SMP racing car deciding in front of us to come into the pits at the last minute. Car 27. Car 27 is the Victor Scheitar car. He actually committed to the first part of the Ford chicane and then skipped it, came into the pit lane. That's coming to join us. 38, which is just taking fuel. Number 38, Thomas Laurent, going back out. That car having had a troubled run so far. Certainly was one of the favourites, but as we saw early in Thomas Laurent's stint, going straight on at Indianapolis.
So bits of, let's hope, oh, that's bits of bodywork there, Giles, that's bits of bodywork, oh dear me.
That's the diffuser that I was talking about. That's exactly what I was saying he didn't want to do.
Yeah. And one of these Astons, one of them, of the 5, they got through in free practice, or I think it was a qualifying, without doing any damage at all. But this one, in the race, it's kind of, we've got to just try and go as fast as we can. But that's now going to cost that car even more. He's on pit road now.
Yeah, but this gives ProDrive the opportunity to split the strategy now. That car now, okay, let's keep that one back, keep something in our pocket with that car. Lead 97 to go and be the hare. It's plummeted down to last.
Well, I could say it's last, yes.
But it's still on the lead lap. So at the end of the day, he's now in a position where, okay, this is going to be the car that is there, making sure that should something happen to the others, he picks it up. That's certainly what I would be doing if I was the engineers down at ProDrive.
I think the rear diffuser looks like it's bumper, isn't it?
It's bumper, so they will get away without changing that. In he goes.
Well,
so
they race cars need all their air. They'll leave. Yeah. They'll put a new bumper on that, will they? Or will they just let that go?
Where that is, they'll let that go, I think.
Okay.
Richie Stanaway is getting bolted in. Yeah, there's nothing up in that area. That area is quite a large void. Louis just confirming to us that there's no bumper ready. It's still pretty well attached. Unless the rest of that starts flapping, I think they'll leave it alone. It's behind the wheel. It's not an area that's critical to the aero. Interesting that it's taking them a little bit longer to do the driver change. The ACO there just checking that they're happy, which they are, and out goes the car. Another puncture.
No.
In a slow zone.
That'd be to pick up the bits of that bumper that we've just seen that are missing. Because I thought exactly the same as you, because initially we concentrated on just one car. I thought it was going to be a replay, but then I saw it wasn't, so that's okay. So whilst they're in this slow zone on the fastest, well, one of the fastest parts of the circuit, it's Kobayashi leading. That battle for second and third has extended. Davison must have been in the pits when we weren't looking, because that's now gone from 35 to 1 minute.
Davidson's taken a stop there, yeah.
I didn't see him coming because we were looking at the Aston Martin and concentrating on that. So this is on board the 67 Ford GT, and looking across, currently sat in second place. Harry Tincknell.
This is our battle for the lead in GTE Pro.
The Tincknell will be right on it, and they out of the slow zone.
Out of the slow zone always get away. If all things being equal, you get that concertina effect. The gap closes as you slow, and then it accelerate. As you accelerate, the gap grows. But Harry Tincknell on board, definitely looking to bring that number 67 car past the 97. Dunlop will be having a good look at that tyre to try and understand what's caused the failure. But as I say, there's a lot out there that people can be running over at this stage, and that only gets worse as the day goes on.
So this is our lead battle in GT Pro, on board with Harry Tincknell, chasing down Serra in the 97 Aston Martin. And the Fords won here last year in GT Pro. It is all about waiting for the slipstream on the straight, isn't it? That's what it's all about.
Yeah, I mean, I heard some commentators earlier saying, oh, the slipstream's not very effective around here in the Porsche Super Cup race. And I then watched the most fantastic slipstreaming I'd ever seen. When they were going 3 wide down the Mulsanne, having slipstreamed together, and the leader trying to get away, young Dan Camish, who won that race. I suspect we'll see him in a Porsche factory seat within a couple of years here. Yeah, it was the most fantastic slipstreaming battle. Interesting that the Aston, through the twiddly bits, is got away from the Ford GT.
But again, I mean, you've got to make hay while you can. You make hay while the sun shines and push on. But does Tincknell just think, well, I'll just follow. I'll just follow and just save a bit of fuel, just save a little bit of the tyres and things like that?
At this stage, I think that's absolutely what they're thinking. There's no bragging rights to be had right now. Just seeing Nick Tandy in the LMP1 class is setting a best overall Sector 2, what we would call a purple Sector 2. So Tandy decided that it's time to get the move on and start chasing down Kobayashi. 3:23 last time round. Kobayashi on an outlap. So we're going to hear from Harry Tincknell now about the handling of the Ford.
Ridiculous. Just stay cool. Yeah, stay cool, mate. Got another 3 laps before we need fuel.
Okay, Dave Wilcock there in Harry Tincknell's ear saying, just stay calm, don't worry. Yeah, we know the Aston's got some acceleration in it. It's all part of the BOP. At the end of the day, all of these cars are delivering their lap time in different ways. So Harry can get upset if he likes, but it's not going to help him. he's going to be quicker somewhere else. We saw that in qualifying.
He's not really bothered about the acceleration the Aston Martin's got. He's bothered about the lack of acceleration he's got, more to the point, isn't it?
But he's got the top end, and you know, he might have a little bit mid-corner. It can be anywhere, and you know, the ACO do a fine job, as we've seen this week, of balancing that. You know, nobody can criticise them for what's gone on this week, and I think they did the right thing with Porsche, giving Porsche, that we're riding on board with now, the number 92 car, an 8 kilogram weight break, so 8 kilograms less on board that car.
Porsche number 2 entering the pit lane. If Louise is around, if she's there, she might be able to talk us through it if she wants to, but she is the other end, but she's seen it coming in, that's okay. But yeah, that Porsche we were just on board with is currently 3rd in the GTE Pro category. The number 8 Toyota currently in 3rd. This is the Davison car, and he was in a battle. As you said, he got given the hurry up from the engineer, then they quickly went into the pits. He's back out. Oh, the 2 cars in the garage.
In the
Not
box.
just in the pit lane, it's in the garage.
Coming off, so what are they doing? This is a problem. This is a proper problem.
Earl Bamber in that car, currently sitting in 5th.
Okay, where are they working? They've got a vibration, I would suggest. The way they're shaking front corners seems to me like they've got a vibration coming from somewhere, and they're trying to find it. You don't normally just start heaving on front corners like that unless that's what you're looking for. See what we've cut away from that as we see the Rebellion Orekas running together still. The leaders in the LMP2 class, Nicholas Prost and Matthias Besch.
Half a second between them as they go down. So I mean, we've had no other information, but that's strange because there was nothing like signalled that car needed to go in the garage, but it's gone in.
Bamber's in lap was okay. You know, 4:15.9. No, that was a slow in lap. That was a slow in lap.
So, well, the front end's off.
Normally the out lap that's the slow one. So, yeah, but where are they looking? They're looking actually down inside the cockpit. So it's pedal box-ish area.
All right, let's have a look.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
that's into the pit lane.
Was that into the pit lane? No, that was out of a... That was...
Why lock it up like that? Why is he...
Did he lock it up, or did that go poof?
No, there was no puff there. That was definitely the front wheels locked, and that's where they're looking, isn't it? You know, they're looking at the calipers, they're looking at the discs, and they're looking in the pedal box, which says to me there's something in that front braking system. You know, front wheels are dragging.
Okay.
As soon as we've got some answers for you, we will find out.
Okay, I'm sure there would have been some conversation somewhere, and we'll find out via either a radio communication or when Louise gets some information from the grapevine in and around there. The battle still rages in Pro. The Aston Martin, 97 Aston Martin is out front, followed by the 67 Ford. Super slow-mo replay of the 8 car, currently sat in 3rd place. If you're just joining us, the number 2 Porsche is in the garage with an unknown problem at the minute.
So going up onto high stands, which is definitely never a good sign. Driver out, up onto high stands. This is not going to be the work of 5 minutes.
Okay, right, well.
Corner trays there, you see these white trays that with the tools in. Each job will have a tray, and the bits they need to do each particular job, you know, if they need a 10mm socket and a 13mm spanner, that's what's in that box. It's nice to see this close-up shot. You can see but things you wouldn't normally see of the front of that car.
It's Alex Brundle
heave damper
out,
there. Sorry, go on.
Alex Brundle just getting out. Sorry about that. The 37 car. This is the 3rd place in P2 at the minute. 21.8 seconds away from the lead before it came in to the pits. So number 1 car lapping fine. Its teammate not so well. And now that Earl Bamber's out of the car, there's not going to be any radio communications because they've disconnected the plug.
So we're going to hear from Porsche number 1, team radio, Nick Tandy. Here we go.
5 laps to go in this thing, 5 laps to go. Equal pace for Toyotas, doing a good job.
I beg to differ on this equal pace. The Toyotas are doing 20s and 21s, Tandy doing 22s, and that's been pretty consistent in terms of Tandy in the 22s. So the Porsche just doesn't seem to have the answer to hold to the Toyota. And now the concern over, is that number 1 car going to have the same issue that the number 2 cars had?
I mean, there was no reference there to Nick Tandy in the number 1 car that the number 2 car had an issue. That's common practice, just they don't need to worry about anything else.
Until they had something that they had a safety concern with the driver, you know, they wouldn't tell them about it. There's no need to. Let the driver get on. Don't it's their job to worry about that. You know, there's 2 distinct teams working on these cars, you know, in terms of race engineers, support engineers to the core race engineer, and mechanics. And they will stay separate as much as they need to, and then they'll come back together, you know, for debriefs and for setup work and things like that. But at this stage, it is 2 teams of individuals, and we've seen that in the past in the Audi garage, as we see. Which car's that? That is the Richard Mille sponsored.
That's just come out of the
car. It's number 28. Oh, no, who's on that car?
That's the quick car. That's the quick car, but it is a bit...
Yeah, who's on board, though?
Yeah, but
28, Francois Perraudot on board, who is a very, very quick driver, very well established. So, again, let's wait and see it for a replay.
There was some traffic in there. Had they been... And now
the Risi guy is scrambling as well.
Yeah, well, that could have been the traffic.
Yes, it could.
Because I didn't... all I was concentrating on was the car going off in the background. But that 28 Orica... It was a 28 Orica, wasn't it? No, it wasn't.
No, 28's had a pretty trouble-free run so far.
Yeah, sorry.
Our LMP2 cars that have had more issues, certainly 38, the Ollie Jarvis car. I'm astounded by how far up that car's stayed with Thomas Laurent on the wheel at the moment. That car's been off, had a starter motor issue at the first pit stop, and still well up there in contention. So those guys, while on track, are certainly doing a super job.
And it's one of the rebellions in.
Yeah, they split the strategy early on by 2 laps, so in comes the 13.
Which is on the car which was in 2nd place.
And to a nice stop. Art Hayden's crew deciding to give LMP1 a miss this year, come and do LMP2 with their Orica 07s as they are. They had Orica 05 LMP1 cars, so they've kept some of the tubs and a lot of the spares have been transferable, but he and Ian Smith doing a fantastic job of running what's always been a very professional outfit, as we see a beautiful slow-mo of 31 and 13, who right now are pretty dominant in the LMP2 class, leading by, what have we got?
Well, you've got a minute and 13.
Yeah.
To the from 2nd to 3rd, so they do this job right. They should still get out.
In 2nd place.
In 2nd place.
Yeah. So, only 1 gun over that white line at any time. Away they go.
And no wheel spin allowed out of the pit lane. If you're wondering why cars aren't kind of really flying out of the pit lane, there's no wheel spin allowed. So, so they should. They just have dropped down. But the 28 car is in. That is 28, isn't it?
It is 28. Yeah, absolutely.
And that car, here it goes. So he wasn't.
Francois Perraudot just goes off on his own.
So what was the Ferrari team? What did this team?
Risi was scrambling, which did seem strange. Maybe they're just reacting to the slow zone. The slow zones, if you play the slow zones right, you can gain a lot of time. Okay. If you're off track while the slow zone is out and you're not going through that slow zone, you're winning the pace that you would have gone through it back. So you'll see this as the race goes on, people choosing to do interesting things if they think there's going to be a slow zone that's going to last 1 or 2 laps. You know, the longer slow zones, everyone's going to go through them approximately the same amount of times. Of course, it can ebb and flow and you can win and lose, but they're far fairer than a safety car where you can get trapped in a crock that's a third of a lap behind, you know, from being 5 seconds behind the other car that you were chasing.
So it's out of the gravel now. So if you were near the end of the lap, you might think, I tell you what, we're a couple of laps away from our stop, we'll just bring them in.
Bring it in.
And get it done, and then that slow zone hopefully is away and finished by the time you get back round there.
Exactly.
You've not had to go slowly anywhere.
So the race engineers are looking at that all the time. Number 35 comes past us, Alpine, with a big right front lock up on the way into the pits. We're just seeing, I think Duncan's ready for that Alpine stop. We're seeing number 1 Porsche really pressing on through the traffic. Nick Tandy absolutely on it, but still in the 321s. You know, he's matching Davidson for pace now, but Lopez in the number 9 Toyota is pushing like crazy, just setting a personal best sector 1. So they're definitely feeling like, right, let's give the Porsche some heat from behind. Riding on board with number 8, Anthony Davidson. Breaks down through the forward chicane, through the first section, through the second section and away. Number 37, those two cars running together, which are the DC Racing Orekas. Just looking at the gap there. David Cheng on board the 37. Thomas Laurent on board the 38. That gap is 1.3 seconds. Yep. So they're running together, and this is a battle.
Everywhere we look in P2, there seems to be a battle. But now that the split, the rebellions, that battle's kind of gone. The 92 car back on the floor after its pit stop. Currently sat, well, it's just dropped down to 4th in Pro. 82 car. This is the team that we saw that were working away. Yeah,
I think Risi just taking the opportunity there just to get it done. They were a bit late. They wanted to be a lap sooner if they wanted to make best use of that slow zone. So out go 92, and is that the 51 behind it? Yes, I think it is. Yep. So they're running together. That's for position, of course, in GT Pro. Porsche getting the better of Ferrari in the pit stop there, which is interesting because in GTE, the pit stop, the refueling time is actually fixed. So the GTE Pro cars have to spend 35 seconds taking fuel on board. Whether it's full or not, the nozzle's got to be connected for 35 seconds minimum. So
well, even if you only want to put 20 litres in?
The rule is that you have to be connected for 35 seconds. Same at GTE AM, it's 45 seconds. So these guys, you know, the time being made up on wheel changes and driver changes, but typically most of these teams can change a driver in 30 seconds.
Ferrari has
got back past,
dispatched of the Porsche in the braking area.
But again, we're going to see this same thing where it ebbs and flows, you know, and if they're clever, they'll work together to push each other along.
Porsche slipstreaming the Ferrari. The Ferrari's hoping that AM car in front will be able to kind of give it just a little bit of a pull as the Porsche tries to come through, or at least maybe block the road a little bit, but that's not going to happen because the Porsche is about to outbrake him into the second chicane, I think it's going to be.
Yeah, that's down into the second chicane, so the Porsche trying to go around the outside, which it does successfully.
Black and white flag for car 71.
Regon, constant abuse of track limits, so that's a warning. Interestingly, he hasn't had a warning until now from our Peter's little chart.
We've got so many pieces of paper and charts in here, just kind of madness. But anyway, we'll be all right, we'll be fine. The 98 car now into the pits. That was leading the AM category, obviously just dropped down. This is this battle again. The Ferrari now slipstreaming the Porsche.
That's Matthias Lauda getting on board the number 98 Aston Martin, so that's them through their cycle of AM drivers. I have to say the JMW crew, same thing again.
Well, each element of the straight. That's the first chicane.
Yeah,
this is the second chicane. Both of them going round the outside of each other.
both of them giving each other respectful room to get on with it. Not necessarily working together as best they can, unfortunately, because ultimately the lap times will be better. 3 wide. Why do we keep running off? It's at this stage in the race, it just seems crazy. We're not chasing the last second.
Battling as well.
Yeah, 3 wide. So no, I mean
the 67 car on an outlap there, so it's maybe it's still just getting up to speed or so, or right on it from the outlap.
Yeah, Durrani on board that car.
Just an update if you're only just joining us. The number 2 Porsche, Earl Bamber was driving it. It had an issue. It went very slowly back to the pits, went into the pits, and is in the garage. So
Duncan's down there, and we're going to get an update from him as to what's going on. Duncan, what are you seeing with number 2?
Yeah, right now they're taking off the whole front suspension of the car. There's about 50 bodies working on it. Quite an extensive job here. They've got 2 brand new front corners, a front left and a front right, already pre-assembled and ready to go at the car here. The back ends of it as well. I was trying to see if they got the floor of it, but there seems to be some panic inside the actual car as well, possibly something to do with a pedal box. I don't know. I'm trying to find out some information, but as you guys can probably imagine, there's a bit of a media scrum down here right now. The drivers have been hustled to the back of the garage, but more information to come on the 2 car right now. Up off the ground, corners off the front, looks very bad.
Thank you for that, Duncan. We've just had a note written in front of us.
Hybrid system.
Yeah.
So that's why they're working all over the thing. The battery's inside the cockpit. Front corners is the motors where it's being deployed from. We saw those front corners lock as whatever happened. So some kind of terminal failure there that they've managed to disengage to bring the car back.
There's a real huddle of cars here, and these 2 are still at it. The Porsche and the Ferrari banging away. The car 1 now.
Yeah, Nick Tandy being told he's got to play by the rules. And 36, don't know what's going on with 36.
Duncan has more information. Duncan, are you there? If we cross to you, yeah? Let's just try and get a word with him.
I'm here, guys. Yeah, sorry about that. It's very busy. We're all getting ushered away. They're expecting pit stops, but they've lost the front axle driving that Porsche. So they've got no front in that, so they need to get that fixed so they can get back up to full speed. So we'll all be moved away because they're expecting a pit stop very soon.
OK, thank you for that. So front axle drive gone.
Yeah, but change the front corners. They're going to lose. What have they lost so far?
Lots. That's what I was just about to say. They're down to
59. So they're down into the LMP2s. They've lost 4 laps so far. It's going to take a while. They're going to. Well, it's now down to the number 1 to take the fight to the Toyotas.
Okay, I'm watching this battle. It's the 7th and 8th. This is, but what a fight it is as they keep slipstreaming. Try and say that after you've had a couple of drinks. But the number 97 car, the leader of the category that we're watching, into pit road as the Porsche garage is all a bit of a mess and a bit of a huddle. So that's it, the 97 car in and on pit road. That's the leader of Pro at 23 seconds, I think, advantage, so he will drop down in a. So just watching these 2, 7, 8. They seem to now potentially, I don't know, but they haven't really overtaken each other for about half a lap. So maybe they're working together now rather than against each other.
To work together properly, they've got to overtake each other, but they've got to do it in a sensible way. You know, I'm used to doing it in low-powered cars. You have to just, you know, right, okay, this lap's your lap, right? You do the hard work, right? I'm coming past now at the end of the lap because we're in the highest speed point of the track, and you both gain a few tenths of a second and save some fuel. Just talking to Alan, who's been in with us for a moment off air. We're looking at it, and you know, Alan knows it better than anyone, but he thinks that's MGU on the Porsche. Just as Spa. 6 hours last year, 2016. So 2 hours potentially to change that MGU.
Duncan has the leader, the guy who's just got out of the A Pro Aston Martin 97 car. Over to you, Duncan.
Thank you very much. Down in the Aston Martin pit lane. A very good stint for you, Daniel. You've handed the car over to Johnny Adam in the lead. Everything going to plan so far in the 97?
Yeah, so far so good. The car, it's running well. It's really reliable. But we still have a long way to go. But I think we are in a good position.
Yeah, what's the heat like in the car? Are you coping okay?
Yeah, it's quite hot in the car. But I think now it's just getting better. The sun is going down and it will be a bit easier for us.
Yeah, good stuff. There's Daniel Serra. They were a good solid stint in that car. There's going to be something happening in this garage, guys. They've just cleared the space for the 95 car to come into pit lane. So we've been ushered again to the other side of the garage.
Okay, thank you. Now, while that interview is going on, the 13
David
Rebellion.
Hansen.
That was a long moment as well.
Yeah, he did the sensible thing of getting off the brake pedal, but had there been a car coming across the apex of the left at the Dunlop chicane, that could have been a massive accident as he T-boned it. But thankfully, no one there. You know, I suspect we'll have race director having a quiet word with him, because it certainly wasn't a safe way to rejoin the circuit. So we're hearing that the 95 is coming in for a diffuser, which I'm surprised that they need to do the diffuser. The diffuser looked like it was in one piece, but we're hearing change the diffuser.
The 8 car also just onto pit road. There's quite a few cars coming in and out onto pit road. So
in the meantime, Jose Maria Lopez has been pushing on pretty hard in the Toyota. He's been taking chunks of time out of Davidson and Tandy. Tandy's last lap through not representative because of the way that things have fallen with slow zones, but Lopez definitely trying very hard to close that gap from the number 9 and put the pressure on. Maybe with Davidson complaining of the balance issues that he's got, they feel that get the number 9 to go and give Mr. Tandy a shove.
Just thought we'd let you listen to that as this battle ebbs and flows still. Again, this is for, I think, 6th and 7th or 7th and 8th. This is, but this is this battle between the Ferrari and the Porsche.
They're working together as best they can, but they've got to stop making each other go round the outside on the entrance to the corners. They definitely seem to like to make it hard for one another rather than pushing on together. I'm just trying to look at the gap to see if they're actually pulling in the guys ahead. I don't think they are.
The leader of Pro just entering the pit lane now. The 71 Ferrari is in. Johnny Adam in the 97 Aston Martin our track, and Andre Lotterer out of his Andre Lotterer out of his car, just pacing around, waiting. Tandy in the number 1 car.
These guys have got to be nervous if it is a fairly major failure on car 2. There's definitely going to be some butterflies in the stomach of the engineers at the back of the garage, and they'll be analysing the parts as soon as they get them off to try and understand what the failure is, what mode of failure is, what root cause is, and then trying to understand what they can do to system-wise ensure that the number 1 car doesn't have a repeat failure, assuming it's not something that's completely unique to one system or one car.
The leader, Kobayashi, in the pits. Wiper the windows. Fuel going in. Lap 65. Second and third in GTE Pro. The Aston Martin 97. Johnny Adam in that car. Obviously with the Ferrari going. Now the Ferrari has dropped a long way down just with a pit stop. That's a bit bizarre. That car was coming, that came in the lead.
No, he owed us a stop.
Yeah, but he seems to have gone a long way down the classification.
That just shows how close they are.
Yeah, but Johnny Adam came in and only didn't really drop a place with his pit stop anyway. 54 and 64 to respect track limits. Car 1 is in. Now, we saw Lotterer ready, but they don't seem to be using it.
Not putting Lotterer in, no. He's just ready in case. So we'll see Lotterer go in at the next stop. He's having a good look, though. Away goes Nick Tandy.
Having a little bit of a look down to see what is going on. But so it's the 66 Ford that leads the Pro category. Billy Johnson aboard that car. Johnny Adam in the 97 Aston Martin. And just looking at the gap now, you're going to correct me if I'm wrong, but those two rebellions that they were circling together, they split the strategy, but then the 13 car went off at the first corner.
Yeah, I mean,
and the gap's only 11 seconds, and he's still got to stop. Did he stop? Both of them stopped.
They both stopped. They're both on 6. So Hannah Hounson pulling away from Julian Canal.
Okay. Even though he went off.
Yeah, I mean, in fairness, he didn't lose any time in that off because he just didn't slow down. As I say, I wouldn't be surprised if there's not some conversations to be had with race director Art when he gets out the car, because that was certainly a dangerous way to rejoin the circuit, and I think fairly intentional.
Okay, so this is the battle at the front. Johnson, Adam, Durrani. 2.3 seconds between the top 3. Heading to 20 hours and 4 minutes left. Listening aboard the Aston Martin.
Yeah, Johnny Adam is chasing down Billy Johnson on board the Ford. They're ready for the 69 car.
Yeah, just heard Scott Dixon stood there waiting. 47 must respect track limit.
It's the only GTE Pro car that owes a stop at this stage. So that'll get everybody in GTE Pro back on sync. Just had a stop from the class-leading GTE AM car. Dries van Toor staying on board the Ferrari 488, the JMW Motorsport car. Those guys leading the class by a healthy margin.
It's a pretty major work going on still on this. Yeah. This is a number 2 Porsche.
Both front corners off, and you know, as Alan suggested, looking at a couple of hours to change that by the sounds of it. Front corner going back on, right front. And we've got Duncan down with the Ford pit stop, waiting for 69.
That's it, right, we'll get a word with Duncan and talk through that. Over to you, Duncan.
Yeah, just standing right behind Scott Dixon right now. Can basically almost touch him if I wanted to. The car's coming in right now. Dixon's almost pranced about, he's on his toes, he's ready for this. The car hits the mark, round he goes, the guys attack the number 69 Ford. These famous numbers at Ford carry here, all the years they have won at the circuit of Le Mans. Dixie's already in the car, the guys rubbing that windscreen. A lot of debris on the windscreen, guys, a lot of debris. Lots of bugs, lots of bits of rubber. So that's really doing a good clean off. It doesn't appear they're taking anything off. No tear-offs on the car. That's a nice service done there. Fuel still going in. Everybody now primed for the tyres. 4 brand new Michelin tyres ready to go on this Ford. But having said that, they were ready for tyres for the last car and they didn't tyre it. They just had them sitting there.
Sorry, Duncan, we're just going to cut across there. 92 Porsche has had a fairly big spin. Corvette came up the inside and they actually touched. They touched and the Porsche ended up out on the gravel that had been dragged on as Hannah Hansen had gone off a few laps ago, and round the car went, but definite side-to-side contact there. So who's on board that? Dirk Werner on board, and that was Jordan Taylor giving him the shoulder as they went through the right-hand kink on the way up to Dunlop.